Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys to having a successful week. Camera's still not working, so I'm just going to minimize this and pull it out of the way. Welcome to freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright. And part of my YouTube is that my content may not be used to train AI models. Not paying me for it. You don't need it. And my voice is doing a lot better. Thank you for people who are asking questions. The herbal remedies are doing wonders. Keys to the reading, because I do read differently. First of all, I read with constellation-based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky. That's the way the ancient astrologers used to read. Tropical astrologers fixed the signs to seasons back about 1800-ish years ago. And there's something called precession of the equinox. It's there. Deal with it. What that is that not only do the planets move, so do the constellations very slowly. And with astrology by the visible sky, there are 13 signs. The missing sign is Ophiuchus, and it's there according to astronomers. And it's the sign of the wounded healer. It's where you're wounded in life, so you learn how to heal yourself and then others with similar wounds. The symbol is of a person holding a snake by the head and tail. And in ancient times, the snake was a symbol of knowledge. And when the person's holding it by the head and the tail, it symbolizes that they're controlling or using knowledge. So that's the missing sign. I read it. I also use the natural size of the constellation. Some people make each constellation the same size, 30 degrees or 28.2 or whatever. I use the visible sky, and that means Virgo in all her glory is just under 50 degrees. Libra, Scorpio, or Ophiuchus, each of those individually are under 25. The constellations are all different sizes according to the wisdom of Mother Nature, and I follow that. And I use astrological midpoints because the IAU boundaries are a little arbitrarily drawn. Athens noted that when he was zooming in on the IAU boundaries, that planets from one constellation were actually being placed on the wrong side of the IAU boundary. So he came up with a midpoint system to address this and keep the constellations together. I think it's more accurate. Keys to the reading, part two. Cat, my hand is not a play toy. Ouch. Keys to reading part two. I interpret astrology using evolutionary astrology, which says the chart is giving you the lessons to learn and that you have freedom of choice. You can choose the high road or you can choose the low road, but you can choose. These are the weekly editions. So these are universal lessons for everyone. So do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Dates are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone as I live outside of Buffalo, New York. I am operating within 1 degree of exact. I could do wider, but I would get overwhelmed. You'd get lost. This makes it manageable. And what we'll be looking at is when the transits are most intense. And the software that I'm currently using is Capricorn by Prometheus. So we're dealing, how in the world? Why didn't it save that? My bad. Week of December 15th through the 21st, 2025. The sun begins the week in Ophiuchus and moves into Sagittarius at the end of the week. The moon begins the week in Virgo and ends in Sagittarius. We'll have a very Sagittarian theme this week because we will also have the full moon in Sagittarius on December 19th at 22:36 or 10:36 p.m. Eastern Time. Based on your time zone, your mileage may vary. Sign change. By the way, the sun, I did mention, enters Sagittarius, so we'll be talking about that. Active planets of the week. The sun is the big one, so it's your core identity. First of all, we are dealing with the sign change, but two other transits do involve the sun, and they're important ones. Secondly is Mercury. And Mercury will be aspecting the nodes of the moon and caught in a T-square. So that's why I'm ranking it a little bit higher than Venus. Venus is just repeating the transits of the sun, but no sign change. So It's life. Outer planets, Jupiter and Uranus are both involved in transits. The outer planets tend to have, when they have their transits, because they're so slow moving, they tend to be very long and drawn out, especially this Uranian Neptunian transit, very long. And retrograde, our retrograde parade has shrunk a lot. We are only dealing with Jupiter, Uranus, and Chiron. So those look like they're moving backwards in the sky, albeit very slowly. And so here's our overview. Let me get the doodle tool here. And we'll start with the moon. You can see the moon is actually going to be very active and very influential this week. It starts over here in Virgo, Tuesday morning in Libra, Wednesday evening or after evening-ish in Scorpio, Thursday evening in Ophiuchus, Friday evening in Sagittarius, and then we have that new moon, and it ends the week in Sag. So the moon is really going to be influential. You can look at the moon as being the journey of the soul, and also your emotion. And some people do say the emotional state. We have the new moon coming up. Yeah, we're going to have a little intensity and things will be a little intense and interesting on Friday, but late Friday night, thank you. So if you don't like things being wacky and weird, stay home Friday night. And here we have the infamous dotted line. Everything above this line is from last week. Everything below is new. So you can see we do have a few transits ending this week. These two are from last week, and that's a Sun, Chiron, and Mars, Neptune. You can see the Jupiter Chiron transit will be going exact on Sunday, which will be very interesting. Oops, made that a little messy. And these are our new transits, and you can see here again. Yeah, the sun here, and then you have Venus with two transits, and Venus is repeating one of the solar transits. And then here we have that T-square of Mercury. That is really light gray. So there we go. And as I said, on Friday, here we have the new moon on Friday, but we also have the sun entering Sagittarius. So that's really a quick parade. So Friday, you have the sun entering, the moon enters, then we have, the sun squaring Neptune, the sun entering, sun squaring Neptune, the moon entering, then the new moon. So Friday night will be probably really intense, and then we move into that T-square with Mercury. Very interesting. There is some talk, and I want to talk about this just a little bit with the new moon before I jump into my reading, of this new moon involving something called the galactic center. Supposedly what that is, and I don't have a full understanding of it, I'm still working on it. This can be a very spiritually intense time as well, as where you would receive spiritual downloads or spiritual insights, so to speak. I'm not well versed in it, so rather than give you bad information, I'd rather just cover what I do know and cover that well. I am working to see how to read the galactic center in evolutionary astrology so we can apply that. Because this new moon, it should be influential. So let me clear that out, clear all our drawings, doodle tool, note sheet. And here we have, and you can see this enters this still is going on this week. So Jupiter retrograde in Gemini squaring Chiron retrograde. So Jupiter in Gemini is the opportunity to learn and communicate, and you're reflecting on that. Are you taking those opportunities when they come up? And a square is a challenge whose purpose is to strengthen you. I forgot to put the square symbol in there. Oh, well. So the purpose of a square is to strengthen you. And so these are challenges. These are challenges in learning. They're helping and challenging and strengthening you to heal and release wounds. Pisces can be thought of spiritual. So what are you learning that's helping you to release spiritual wounds? Are you learning what you need to help you heal in that way and release those wounds? The shadow here, Jupiter is a crisis of confidence, and that can be overconfident or underconfident. Either you know it all or you can't learn, and you have a lot of self-doubt. And instead of a square being strengthening, it becomes a crushing burden or a stumbling block that leads to what? Greater wounding and a desire to escape and numb the pain any way, shape, manner, or form you can. Or live in denial of the wound. That's the other one I have here. So here we go. That's going on until the end of the month. So we'll be dealing with that. Hold on a second. Throat coat tea. Not the greatest tasting thing, but God, it works. Here we have ending this week, the Uranian-Neptunian sextile, and both are retrogrades. This is a lot of individual internal work. So how is you being at peace with your authentic self creating an interest in your spirituality? And with Neptune is no longer retrograde. I forgot to take that out. God, I had that in my notes too. You know what? I'm not perfect, just good enough. So how is this internal work manifesting in your external spirituality and what people are seeing and what you're living out in the real world? The shadow here is you being who you're not. The key lesson with Uranus is being your authentic, learning to be your authentic self. So when you're not being your authentic self, you're being fake. And that's either you're acting out to get a reaction from people or selling out. How is that creating, like a nervous issue or potential tension in your spiritual life? And what problems could this beginning to create in your spiritual life and the way you live your spiritual life? And it can make you have things feeling empty. You can feel isolated and alone, or also stuck in an illusion. And I'm just going to do this in order of the time that things happen. We do have the moon entering Virgo. So the moon, your emotional self, your soul is looking to do what? Virgo, improve, get better. So it's time to skill up and improve. And receive help from others who can provide you with the help you need and insights and guidance, information ruled by Mercury, so you can understand where I say information from. And, excuse me, also time to accept responsibility for that. You're responsible for your own self-growth. Do it. The shadow here is falling into worry and a perfectionist attitude. That is being that you're not good enough and you'll never succeed, so why bother trying? And that can leave you feeling overwhelmed, emotionally overwhelmed and unworthy. And just, I also like to say worry. Virgos tend to worry a little bit. That's my experience. Next, we have Mars squaring Neptune. Mars is in Sagittarius and squaring Neptune. Mars in Sagittarius, this courage to explore. How is that strengthening your ability to be spiritual, do your spiritual practices, be spiritually present? What new things, when I think Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, opportunity, newness. How is that strengthening your spiritual journey and your ability? And I also like to say, and I like the way Stephen Forrest says this, with Neptune and Pisces, don't just do something, sit there, be present, be in the moment. How are these new ideas, the courage to embrace these new ideas, helping you to be present and in the moment? And it can also help you see life and understand it from a higher perspective. The shadow here is falling into fear and a crisis in confidence. The square becomes a crushing burden that leaves you overwhelmed, lost, and wanting to escape. This crisis of confidence can have you stumbling around blindly and living in a fantasy or trying to escape the mess that was made. Ick. And from Saturday, we had the sun in Ophiuchus trining Chiron retrograde in Pisces. So the sun in Ophiuchus is healing your core identity, healing who you are at heart. This trine is a support. So as you're doing that, how is this helping you to release wounds? and let them go. Perhaps even understand them and see them from a higher perspective so that you can release them. The shadow here is refusing to heal or wounding yourself more deeply or others. And that creates a trine in this situation is a slippery slope downhill. And Chiron, instead of healing, is deeper wounding. The only thing I can think of is like, the person who keeps smashing their thumb with a hammer. They're trying to hit the nail and they keep whacking their thumb with a hammer. And instead of learning how to put the nail in properly, they're like, yeah, that's the vision I got. But yeah, refusing to heal and wounding yourself and others can result in deeper inner wounding, desire to escape and numb the pain from all these wounds. Oh, this is an interesting. Hold on a second. My friend just sent me an interesting insight. I'm sorry. So there we go. Monday, take a breath. Remember to exhale. Repeat. Tuesday, Sun and Ophiuchus squaring Saturn. So the Sun and Ophiuchus, again, healing your core identity. How's this strengthening your spiritual growth? Not Neptune, I'm sorry. Saturn in Pisces is spiritual maturity. So as you're being healed, it's strengthening your spiritual, your ability to grow spiritually. Let's see. And also your self-respect. I think that's important there too. The shadow here is collapsing into the false ego and wounding yourself more deeply, can have you stumbling into fear. The square becomes a stumbling block and create a desire to escape. Also have you turn into a control freak and falling into feelings of pessimism or self-pity and despair. And we also, did I change those dates? Heck, I am sorry. That's 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that's ending. How did that? No, that's a mistake. That should be 16, 17, 18. God, I know I proofread this. Oh well. Tuesday, the moon enters Libra. Just emotionally take a breath, take a break. Open up to ambiguity and different perspectives. Things don't always have to make sense, but learn to be at peace with them. The shadows being indecisive and coming across as insincere or leaving you emotionally out of balance. On Wednesday, the moon enters Scorpio. Yeah, get ready for a little emotional intensity here. Emotionally, get ready to face some deep personal truths and expect some emotional intensity, deep feelings, potentially powerful moods, and be able to look into what you're feeling more deeply and be willing to ask why. Analyze what you're feeling and why. The shadow here is falling into that rotten mood and making things more complicated and also just falling into pointless, meaningless, empty drama. Also on Wednesday, we have Venus in Ophiuchus trining Chiron retrograde in Pisces. So Venus in Ophiuchus, the healing power of relationships. How can you heal your relationships, or how is working with other people helping you to heal? Also, Venus is arts and creativity. And finally, Venus is taking a break and resting. How are any of those things helping you to heal and helping to support, trying to support the healing and releasing of wounds? The shadow here in Venus can be slick and manipulative with others. Oh, I can't do that. Would you please do it for me? Your healing journey is your own. But being slip and manipulative, falling into vanity, being lazy can actually lead to deeper inner wounding of yourself and the wounding of others. It can also damage your creativity if you're trying to, I hate to say this, but I'm going to. You're trying to draw something, and rather than sitting down, taking the time to draw, you use AI you punch the prompt into AI and you let AI do it for you. That's not help. That is not helping you become a better artist. It's actually short-circuiting it, or any form of plagiarism. When you're stealing from other people and and calling it your own and calling it your creativity, it's not helping you any. I mean, granted, I like Marc Chagall's work. I try to copy. You start with the trying to paint in his style and recreate his images, see how well you can do. But the goal is to get beyond that. And if you never get beyond that, you know, it's not healing. It's actually damaging. Nonetheless, I digress. But those wounding of the relationships with others can lead to deeper inner wounding of yourself. So the more you hurt other people, the more you hurt yourself. Thursday, the moon does enter into Ophiuchus and open up to healing and releasing of wounds. That's what this is really about. Heal emotionally, releasing the wounds, because we are in that waning cycle, and open up to the knowledge of wisdom that is being presented to you by healers so that you can heal. The shadow, shutting that down, using it as refusing to heal, wounding others, or using the knowledge that you've gained to hurt other people. And Friday, we have the intense, one second. Beginning of the intensest day of the week, we have Sun entering Sagittarius, the Sun in your core identity in Sagittarius, learning to have faith and trust first and foremost in yourself, and developing faith and self-confidence, discovering what calls to your heart, and stepping out of the familiar into bravely step out of the familiar into bold new experiences. The Sun in Sagittarius is stepping out of your comfort zone. That's what it is. The shadow here is falling into the false ego, and this is whether you're burning the star is burning too bright, or you're collapsing into the dark star, not wanting to be seen. And this is, when you do that, you're falling into a crisis of confidence, and it can lead to boredom and predictability. We all know the drama kings and the drama queens. I'm going to use that as the example. You know that when certain people are into certain situations, they're going to act a certain way. Well, that's pretty predictable. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. And it can feel like giving up on life's hopes and dreams. Secondly, we have the Sun in Sagittarius squaring Neptune. So as you're exploring these new ideas and these new elements of yourself, how is that supporting your spiritual growth and development and your ability to be present and aware? I think that's a great lesson. Another great lesson of Neptune and Pisces is being present and aware of the moment. And what are you being present and aware of the moment of? Mostly yourself and who you're becoming. So are you learning that? Are you willing to take those risks to grow and strengthen that spiritual side of yourself and being in the now as well? The shadow here is that false ego having that crisis of confidence, either over or under. And how does that create a crushing burden and a stumbling block that leads to idle fantasies or a desire to escape and numb the pain? And then we have the moon entering Sagittarius. Man, Sagittarius is getting loaded right now. We're going to see Venus and Mercury in here pretty soon too. Heads up. But the moon, emotionally, you're letting go of the old and getting ready to find something new, fresh, and fun. Be open to the opportunities for new experiences that can present themselves, I like that. The shadow here is falling into and defending the status quo and getting caught up in a cycle of mindless tradition that just fuels boredom. We're doing the same thing tomorrow because that's what we did yesterday. And it can be soul-sucking and life-draining. And Friday night, right before 11 p.m. Eastern time, we do have that new moon in Sagittarius. So that's the sun and the moon conjunct each other, and it's time to heal. The new moon is a time of healing. First and foremost, it is a time of healing of your identity. And this is a time to heal your sense of adventure in your life and develop faith and confidence in yourself. And again, to take those new opportunities and those risks. Emotionally, you're up, you're ready for it. Your ego, your core identity wants it. Get up, go and do it. The shadow here is playing it safe and slipping into boredom or living vicariously and in a meaningless manner. So rather than learning to, like, I'm here in Western New York, we got the snowmobile paths open. Rather than getting together with, going to a snowmobile club and learning to snowmobile, you pull out the video game. Or we have all the ski slopes. I could go down, learning how to ski on the bunny trail. It's there, or learning to snowboard. I don't think I would try snowboarding. I'm actually more curious about cross country skiing and what is it? I do have my maybe I should break them out again. I have my old I have these like 60-year-old snowshoes that I found and they're still like amazing condition and good. But nonetheless, getting up, going out and getting up, going out on the ski slope and learning how to ski versus breaking out the video game and pretending that you're on the ski slope. You're not really doing it. Get real. Sorry about the snark there, but it's either get up, go out and do it in the real world, or do it vicariously through something that is not real and you're not really learning how to do it, and it can get boring. On Saturday, we have Venus in Ophiuchus squaring Saturn in Pisces. I believe that's, yeah, Venus in Ophiuchus squaring Saturn. What's going on? Who is this? What's the matter, Smokey? Okay. What's up, buddy? All right. Sorry about that. We got a kitten emergency. So Venus in Ophiuchus, healing your relationships, the healing power of art, music, etc., or just sitting. It's the weekend, sitting down and taking a break. How is that strengthening? How is that strengthening your spiritual and supporting your spiritual maturity? And how can rest support spiritual fulfillment? Okay. Ow, ow, ow. I am not a chew toy. Unless those of you trying to do, I swear this kitten is part Manx and part Maine Coon or something. She is getting huge. But how is healing your relationships? How is healing creativity, healing art, taking that time to rest? How is that supporting your spiritual maturity, spiritual growth, spiritual fulfillment? The shadow here being that slick and manipulative person, and that's wounding yourself first and foremost, and others, or faking it, pretending that plagiarizing, stealing other people's work, and pretending that it's your own, or instead of sitting down and just chilling out, going out and partying it up. I'll be honest. Sitting home Saturday night with a bowl of popcorn and watching a movie versus going out to a bar and getting hammered, which is actually going to be more resting and fulfilling for you on Sunday morning. Guarantee you that hangover isn't. And in that situation, when you're not fulfilling that, you're wounding yourself in those ways. That becomes a crushing burden that leads to just feelings of despair, pessimism, cynicism, and just fuels deeper fears. And these fears are all fantasies, but in your own mind, they're real. Hangovers are not. I'll be honest with you there. And also on Saturday, we have Mercury in Scorpio is going to be caught in a T-square. And I'll explain this. Okay, Goofy, what's up? What's going on, girl? Mercury is going to be in a T-square to the nodes of the moon. So the nodes of the moon are your destiny. The south node is the past. So the first square of the past. The first challenge is Mercury in Scorpio is learning things on a deeper level. The square is to the south node. How is learning things at a deeper level helping you to see how you held yourself down and back with pointless drama? South node in Leo, pointless drama. And you're becoming aware of it. And as you become aware of it, that's how you can change the behavior. So that's the ideal. So this is a mental, as you're exploring and learning things, you lead to a mental breakthrough that helps you understand pointless drama, and immaturity holds you down and back in life. The shadow is getting rigid, defensive, self-absorbed, and that creates the square, instead of strengthening you, becomes a stumbling block that fuels the pointless drama and childish behavior. That's part one. Part two is Mercury in Scorpio with this, was I just said, squaring the North Node. The North Node is your destiny in this lifetime, or a purpose you came here to fulfill. So part one is understanding your natal North Node, but part two, it's in Aquarius. So how are you making your life's destiny or your life's purpose authentic to you? So as you're learning and gaining these new insights and gaining these mental breakthroughs and letting go of old knowledge, how is that strengthening your ability to make your life's purpose authentic and unique to you? You do not go behind the computer, girl. There we go. Sorry. She is really spooked. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I'm holding you, girl. It's okay. Okay, let me flip you. There we go. There you go. So that's the ideal. As you're learning new information and learning it more deeply, it helps you make your life's purpose more authentic and unique to you, and also in doing that, more fulfilling. The shadow is as you shut down and put on the blinders to wonder, and you narrow your focus, narrow your vision to where you're not learning anything new. Instead of your destiny becoming unique, you're either acting it out and being, I know what I'm supposed to do and don't tell me, or you're selling out. You're giving your power away and trying to fit it into what other people are telling you. So that know-it-all gets eccentric. They can't learn it all, gives the power away and sells out. And since it's in a T-square, this is going on concurrently. So as you're gaining these insights, you're seeing how you hold yourself back and then how you can make your destiny more authentic. But as you become more narrow-minded, rigid, and defensive, acting things out immaturely and screwing up your destiny. And on Sunday, no new transit, so we're just fulfilling what's going on. Take a breath, remember to exhale and repeat. And that is our week. So do follow me on social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm also on the Digital Soul Space. These three are making billions of dollars off your data. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Networks, and their rule is your data is yours. And you can set the permissions on how it gets used. It's it is private. There's a free version and a paid version. The free version gets you limited access. Paid version, which is only $1.99 a month, gets you access to the full version. And that $1.99 that you're paying a month goes to help pay for the site, because it's not hosted on any of the the social media sites that are using or selling off your data. This keeps it private, and it's an awesome site. They do astrology on there, but they also do crystals, tarot, oracle decks. There's a wide variety of spiritual traditions, Wicca. I think I've seen Nordic, Native American, or Norse, Native American, various pagan traditions. Really, really interesting. If you got a question, ask. People will chip in what they know. And there's 4 great moderators, so you're never going to see any of the spam or garbage that you see on the corporate sites. So do follow me on social media. I do readings. If you want to see how your chart's going to change, order the Quick 6. It's 6 key essential points that form the basis of the full birth and natal chart reading. So the Quick 6 gives you a quick overview. The natal chart reading tells you your birth contract. Why am I here? That's your birth chart. Who am I here to become? That you can find that out in your birth chart. Sometimes you notice these patterns repeating, and some people believe in past lives. I do a karmic reading that helps you to uncover those past lives. Or if you're a one and done, you came here to learn a special lesson. I can help you understand what that is, and then how you overcome and heal that or achieve that lesson. And I do horoscopes. I do 1 year, which is any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And it can be first of the month to the last, or new moon to new moon. Wow, she has never run up to me like this and let me hold her like this. And I do offer these in packages at 4 different levels, and they have a 10% discount built in. So do follow, and share. And if you do go to freedomthroughastrology.com, you'll see a pop-up that says sign up for the newsletter. Just give me an email address. I need nothing else. And you get once a week newsletter. You're also entitled to special bonuses and discounts. So thank you very much. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. And in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much. Have the best week possible.